Hey, this is Mr. Starziak. In this video, we're going to talk about nouns and the different ways you can spot a noun in a sentence. For the most part, the standard definition of nouns is a person, place, thing, or idea. The idea is something people forget, and that's something we're going to touch on as well. Let's get started. First thing a noun is a person. So whether it's a doctor or Oprah Winfrey, a gardener, Tom Brady, or a Marine, all people are nouns. All places are nouns, whether it's Boston, a zoo, a hospital, or Hong Kong. All places, nouns. Now, if it's not a person, it's not a place, it could be a thing, like a monkey, or teeth, tomato, a very large nose ring, or a platypus. All things, all nouns. The thing that sometimes people leave out is the things that are ideas. The abstract idea of peace, abstract idea of anger, love, fear. All these are things, they're ideas, so they're not tangible, because they're not concrete, people sometimes leave them out. They are versus proper nouns. This comes into play when we have to look for things to capitalize. Something like school is a common noun. It's not a specific school, it's just a school. Common nouns are lowercase. If we make it a specific school, like Toronto, now we have to capitalize it because it is a proper noun. A word like singer. It could be any singer. It's not a specific singer. It's a common noun. It doesn't get capitalized. If we make it a specific singer, such as Lady Gaga, now you have a specific singer and you need to capitalize it because it is a proper noun. A teacher, common noun. Turn it into a proper noun, Mr. Starziak. Mr. Starziak gets capitalized. You have a whale. Whale, common noun. If you go to San Diego to SeaWorld, you may see Shamu. And Shamu is a specific whale and therefore gets capitalized. Last thing is the common noun video game. And if you want to buy a specific video game, if you just tell someone, get me a video game, they could bring you any video game. But you need to be specific. You need to use proper noun. In this case, Call of Duty. Notice all of the proper nouns are capitalized. Moving on. Compound nouns. Compound nouns are words that if you break them up, you're going to have two separate nouns. There are three different ways to go about joining a compound noun. The first one, with a word like toenail, you can just jam them together. Toe and nail, put them together, you have a compound noun. If you have a word like Jack in the Box, now we can take the group of words and put them together using hyphens. And those hyphens hold the word together, but we still have one thing, which is Jack in the Box. So we can either put them together to make a new word, we can put hyphens in between them to make a new word, or we can just have them separated out by a space. In this case, peanut butter. Peanut and butter are two different nouns. But if we put them together to create one specific thing, now we have peanut butter, which is something you eat. Same thing with swimming pool. Okay? This is a compound noun separated by a space, whereas toothpaste is more along the lines of toenail, where it's two different nouns smashed together to create a new word. Those are compound nouns. Collective nouns are important when considering to use singular or plural in a sentence. Crew, herd of animals, team of players, a murder of crows, a band, or a mob, even though these are all multiple things. The herd, the crew, the team, the mob, the band, the murder act as one thing. So I wouldn't say the crew are going into space. I would say the crew is going into space. Okay, I'm going to use the is. I'm going to use the singular rather than the plural of are in a sentence. That's an example of why collective nouns are important. Sometimes people forget nouns. Sometimes people forget that something is an. Sometimes people forget something as a noun because it's not concrete. But abstract things are nouns too. And we're going to take a look at the difference between the two. Snot is definitely concrete. You can feel snot. Everyone tries to suck it up, and it's pretty gross. And you can feel it. So snot is concrete. Whereas something along the like knowledge is abstract. You can't touch knowledge. You can't feel it. It just is. It's a thing. But because it's an abstract thing, sometimes people forget that it's also a noun. So knowledge would be considered abstract. Concrete, something you can feel. Tangible. Abstract, something that's intangible, something that's not concrete. The most common way people remember nouns is to usually think it's the subject of the sentence, and that's the most important role usually a noun plays in a sentence. So in this case, the cat chased the ball. Cat is the subject, cat is a noun. We can also use nouns to rename our subject. So cat is still the subject in this one down below. But the cat was a mouse assassin. So we're renaming the cat. Assassin is a noun. But what we like to call this one is, because it's renaming the subject, is a predicate nominative. So especially for AP students, predicate nominative may show up on the AP exam. This is what a predicate nominative is. You're renaming the subject of the sentence. The last three cases we're going to look at are in the objective case. We have a direct object, we have indirect object, and we have the object of the preposition. Now, direct object. We have our subject, Lila and Emmett, and then we have our verb, played. Now, the easiest way to figure out the direct object is when we have a transitive verb is to say played what? In this case, it's soccer. And that means that this word, soccer, is the direct object. And soccer is a noun, which is why it's in this video. Direct object can also be a pronoun. But in this case, we're looking at nouns. Let's look at another example. She planted tomatoes. We have our subject. We have our verb. Planted. We have transitive verb. Planted what? Tomatoes. Tomatoes is our direct object. That's how simple direct objects are. All right. We have our subject. We have our verb. If our verb is transitive and we have it acting upon something, then that is our direct object. Moving on. Indirect object. You cannot have an indirect object unless you have a direct object. So if you have no direct object, you have no indirect object. Let's go back to what we just talked about. Let's find the direct object first. We have our subject. We have our verb bought. Bought what? So we bought an Xbox. So Xbox is going to be our direct object. She bought an Xbox. To find the indirect object, we have to see bought for whom. In this case, Barry. So Barry is going to be our indirect object. That's the easiest way to figure out indirect object. You cannot have an indirect object unless you have a direct object. Let's look at another one. I told her the story. We have a subject. We have a verb. Do we have a direct object? Yes. Told what? Told the story. And the story is a noun. And it's the action of the transitive verb. Now, told to whom? Right, to her. So her is going to be the indirect object. And that's direct and indirect objects. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is object of the preposition. An object of the preposition is important because it is a noun that's going to help us decide whether there's a prepositional phrase or not. So that's going to help us with prepositions. It's also going to help you with adverbs, because if there's no object of the preposition, something like under becomes an adverb. So this is how all grammar fits in together. If you can understand the different parts, it's going to help you figure out what everything does. In a sentence, it's going to help you identify the parts of speech that much sooner, and struggle that much less. So in this case, you have under, which is a preposition, and then you have a noun that comes after the preposition, and that is going to be the object of the preposition. And when we take all these together, you get the prepositional phrase. That's it for this video. As always, with this or any video that you watch, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me for help, whether it be through email, or preferably if you come and see me before or after school, and we can clear up anything that might be unclear to you. Thank you for watching,